Hey everybody, I'm really excited about doing this video today. What I've been thinking about is I have to talk about what drove me to speech therapy. What was the moment I said, I've had enough? Anytime we make change in our lives, right? There has to be a moment where we say, I've had enough. And again, in my other videos, I've talked about some of those moments, some of those stuttering moments, the hallmarks that I remember and my struggles and emotions with those moments of stuttering, whether it was coaching, personal life, funerals, or whatever. Even when I got married many years ago, I thought about it. I'd have to say vows aloud, right? So that caused stress. So the one moment where I said I'd had enough happened at work. I was about 30 years old. I'd been married about 6 months at that time. And it's interesting because my wife, still the same wife, same woman, I mentioned to her that I had a problem, that I wanted to do something about it, that I was a person who stuttered, that I had always struggled with this, that obviously I hid it from her, right? I don't know if I hid it from her, but I'd hid it from everybody. But it was becoming a bigger deal to me. And we had talked about starting a family, and it was one thing before we were blessed with children that I wanted to try. I wanted to give myself an opportunity to fully commit, to try to see what I could do in therapy, to see if I could be more fluent, or I'm sure I said, fix my stuttering. How naive I was, right? So anyway, I said to my wife, sweetheart, again, I have this issue, I stutter, and she didn't really notice. I told her how it manifests itself, and I mentioned that I hide words now. However, I couldn't hide any longer. I couldn't do it because of something that happened at work. I had a sales position, and I was selling instrumentation for the process industry. Anyway, I couldn't say level indicator for those big tanks you see sometimes outside on the highway for petroleum, oil, things like that, even chemical companies, right? They put product in tanks, and you need level indicators to make sure those tanks don't overflow. So I was on the phone with the customer, and I struggled. I actually blocked saying level. I didn't know what to do. I'm sure I panicked, turned red, probably felt embarrassed, probably ashamed. I mean, I'm a professional guy at 30 years old, and that happened to me. It just hadn't happened so blatantly or overtly, I guess. And I was on the phone, which for some people who stutter, being on the phone creates more tension. It creates more anxiety. So it made me feel even worse. And again, I've talked about the emotional piece of stuttering, and everybody does, right? It's not just the physiological things you hear. It's not just those, it's the emotional part. So anyway, I had told my wife I emailed somebody. I found somebody through one of the larger organizations online, and I had sent an email to her saying that. The ironic part, the therapist I found, by the way, wonderful, and thank you. If you ever see this video, like I told you before, I'm incredibly thankful for the impact you've had on my life, and fluency, by the way, in speech. So thank you. I'm eternally grateful. So I emailed her. I won't use her name right now. I'm not sure I should. Anyway, I emailed her, and I told her I was a person who stuttered, and I'd like to talk to her about it. She replied to my email relatively quickly and mentioned, hey, we could communicate via email, or you can call me. So when I got her email, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, someone else said I stuttered. Someone else knows now. It's a weird thought process in my head about it. But again, those of us who stutter can be incredibly sensitive about stuttering and other people recognizing that we stutter. So anyway, I replied to her and said, sure, I can call you. That'd be fine. Of course, I said, oh, I have no problems. I can call you. I don't really stutter that much. Still not admitting it fully. So in my next videos, I do want to chronicle some of my experiences in therapy. But again, the one thing that drove me to therapy was blocking so badly during a sales call. I was on the phone. It drove me. It was, I've had enough moment, and that was it. Thank you for listening to my story.